Rahim says, I was in a relationship and we really wanted to marry. However, with the culture we're from, our parents didn't accept us. Now, she didn't want to go against her parents, so she broke up with me. It sucks. Yeah, I've heard. I'm not sure, Rahim, if I'm right or wrong. You might be from India. I don't know if that also exists, that caste problem or challenge in Pakistan. I don't know if you're from Pakistan or India, but I have heard that this is a big issue and it's something that is followed in India. So that's why I said I think you might be from that neck of the wood. And I think that's pretty interesting subject about the caste business, which deprives many people, younger people who find themselves compatible to each other, have to let go and listen to their parents and go and break up that relationship and go with the husband or the wife that the parents have chosen for them, because simply not because their boyfriend or girlfriend was anything wrong with them, but just because they were not coming from the same family background or economic background or chain of background that this parent or that parent is from. Usually they supposedly, I hate this word, the higher caste level, people who think that they are a little bit higher than this other one because of whatever economic reasons or backgrounds, or I don't know how the chain works, family history, they seem to not accept the one that is coming from a different caste. I think that's just depriving two people who have found themselves compatible from a real chance to make a good life for themselves, and instead pleases parents who are playing this game to prove to themselves that they are worthy, because now they have their daughter marrying someone who comes from a family who is actually more wealthier or economically better than they are, or in a line of history their ancestors lead to some close proximity of each other, which is really all living in the past. Who says that people cannot, who come from a different caste from you, different family background from you, cannot be as happy and successful and fine human beings with fine credentials of kindness and compassion for their family and their wife, just because they're coming from a different family? Who says that? What kind of a bullshit is that? That parents think that if they choose a husband or a wife for their son or for their daughter from a similar family background, that guarantees that that husband will take good care of their daughter, or that wife that they choose would be a good wife for their son, which could have nothing to do with anything. It has to do with the quality, the inner quality of the consciousness of these people, how they have actually been conditioned, how they have actually interacting with the world, with the society, with their feelings, with their responsibilities, with their sense of duty and honor and love and compassion and sense of duty and reasonability and ability to interact and be flexible in a family situation for their spouses. It's all has to do with that individual. Why is it that parents take butt in such a big way, and they create this kind of a hardship for these young people who have investigated each other and found out that they actually are more compatible than somebody else that is being chosen by somebody else? I mean, how could it really be understood that it is foolproof if a parents choose a husband for their daughter, or parents choose a wife for their son, instead of the daughter finding a husband for herself, or the son finding a wife for himself, based on the mutual understanding and the common things that they find in each other's behavior and interest and bond on consciousness level and so on and so forth. To some degree, this could be helpful if they come from similar backgrounds. But even the people who come from similar backgrounds, there is no guarantee that they will actually make it work. And they're all kind of people around the world with all kinds of backgrounds, whether they come from the same caste or not. They go through problems and challenges, same problems and same challenges, and they get divorced, and they get in fights, and they get in. So it's really no guarantee that just because it is even chosen from the same caste, there would be no same problems that it would be if they were not chosen from the same caste. They're still human beings with the same conditionings and fears and dogmas and limitations and concerns and needs and aspirations and hopes and fears of all kinds, and so you can't change the actual reasoning for how they are by simply saying, oh, this comes from this corner of the town and this comes from this kind of a background, therefore it's beyond him or her to have these human problems that all humans have to deal with in their consciousness. They just and won't. Well, it's just fooling yourself. The problems still would be problems. So it's best to find which two people have the most compatibility with each other. Not what their parents have most compatibility in their travel of casting or where they are in economic or a background stage. It's all about two people wanting to live with each other. They should know each other. They should choose each other. They know themselves better, unless these daughters or these sons are considered to be idiots by their parents or are not given enough credit by their parents to be able to figure out what is good for them and what they actually need to succeed in life. Perhaps that is part of the education that is missing. What do you need to be successful in your marriage or in your relationship? Maybe that should be focused on instead of just finding the right caste. The caste cannot guarantee the manners and the characteristics of a human being. So many people come from good castes, but they're just idiots or just as asshole as somebody else coming from a different caste. It's about human being and humanity and compassion and love and understanding and respect and reasonability and understandability and all these other things that we should rely on to make ourselves to become a better person and interact with our wives or with the spouses or the relationship that we're in, the partners, the way that should be interacted with. So are they going to be responsible if are the parents going to be responsible also, take the responsibility if that their choice doesn't work? Or are these going to be a pretense life that even if it doesn't work, for the respect of the parents, they should pretend it works? So it's all pressure and all force of accepting something. So the whole life is about being manipulated by tradition, by customs, by parents, by rules, and not really pay attention to what really can make it work and what really cannot make it work, regardless of what caste it is. It's all about the content of the consciousness and if they actually are bonding on the consciousness level. There are some benefits from having similar backgrounds in some things, but that's just one part. There are many other parts that should be also considered if a relationship wants to be successful. And that's no guarantee by just making it not be considered of all the other things that are necessary for a relationship to work, but only focusing on as long as the caste is the same, then the rest of it doesn't matter. Because that's really what comes down to. If they're really compatible and they hit it off, they like each other, they say none of that matters as if you're not from the same caste. So it means like one quality that is necessary for a relationship to work, such as casting in that culture, is going to override everything else that these two human beings need to be compatible. in order to make it work. Does that make sense? Does that? It doesn't. It's only one component. How can one component become more important than all of the components, the entirety of the components necessary for a relationship to work? So this needs to be given a real thought when parents decide to break two people's interaction and connection and compatibility just because they feel the one thing that is going to make it work or not work is that casting, and the rest of the things don't matter. That is not reasonable. That's what I think. But then, who am I to think that? Okay, now, it's obviously lots of things must be at work for a relationship to work, and casting could be helpful, but cannot be the only thing. And if it's treated as the most important ingredients in that recipe of successful relationship, then it's unfortunate. That's unreasonable.